So, legend, how we doing? And in this video, I'm going to be speaking about my favorite supplements which I've taken for a long period of time, the benefits and the reasons why I incorporate them into my daily routine. Some of you aren't aware of supplements, and some of you just think that supplements are just there just to take to compensate for food. That's wrong. That's what it says on the tin. They're there to supplement your nutrition and your lifestyle. So, on that note, here's the truth and more information about the ones which I use. So, first one I take is a Solgar multivitamin. So I take this every morning with my breakfast, and the reason for that is nowadays we don't always get the nutrients what we should do in our food because of pesticides and chemicals involved, and the food quality in certain vegetables, etc., just isn't what it used to be years ago. So there's been a lot of research and studies to show something like a multivitamin can just help boost your immune system. Now summer's finished and we're sort of breaking into autumn and the winter period. I think it's really important to get those sort of macronutrients which we can to support our immune system. And one by doing that is just by taking a simple multivitamin. There's loads on the market to do your research, but one of the main reasons why I like Solgar products is because they come in a dark glass. So think back to science like chemistry at school. Things like potassium and that, they were kept in dark glass because UV rays would affect that and would have a chemical reaction. So the dark glass actually protects the supplement itself. So I couldn't recommend. They do a female version as well. It has on the back all the concentrations of the bits and pieces in there. So what I would recommend as well is by having a blood or a DNA test, as that will show you what you're deficient in, which could be zinc or iron or various other bits and pieces. So that's another way to find out what you're in. Next one, which I've been taking for best part of, I started taking at the beginning of the year. So yeah, pretty much 9 months now, and that is lion's mane. Okay, so you see that one there. So you take 2 of these, and obviously there's been a lot of research into mushrooms and of how they could benefit. The reason I take this every morning with my breakfast is to help your cognitive alertness. I think that's how you say it. So my thinking, in order to basically get me going. So I no longer have like a coffee first thing in the morning. I will have my breakfast and 2 of those in it, and that's to get me thinking and get me sparking with the sort of days ahead. They do a different one in that product, which has a green label. So this one is for energy and focus. You can have another one, I think, which is like to more stimulant and quite similar, I believe, to some of the products or the bits and pieces which are incorporated in the drink New Tonic. So lion's mane, I couldn't recommend any more. Next one, another Solgar product, and this is my omega-3, 6 and 9. Okay, so I take 2 to 3 of these every morning again with my breakfast, and I've been having these for years. It's probably the supplement I've been taking the longest with some of the others, which I'll cover in a bit. This helps with hair growth, nail growth, skin, joint care. The rich fatty acids to the brain can help with your concentration. I remember when I was back at school as a teenager for my GCSEs, my mum put me on it, and my spelling and reading actually improved. And I don't know how accurate that is, but it did definitely make a difference. So I couldn't recommend that enough, to tell the truth. And also can help with inflammation, and there's various other health benefits. Okay, so got to get your good fats incorporated into your diet. So if you're not having rich fatty fish and from other animal meats, then got to get the next one, which I have, which I think we used to pay a bit of lip service back today, especially in the military, because we always got told to just bang water, and actually what you're doing if you have too much water is you're actually flushing out the salts out of your body, some of the toxins. So what we actually need to have each day is a good quality electrolyte. So there's loads on the market, but I like this ORS one. There's loads out there, so do your research, as some might have more sugar than others. So work out the concentration, because some might say during sport 2 tablets, just for maintenance maybe use 1 tablet with half a litre of water, for example. So like I said previously, instead of having a coffee sort of first thing in the morning to sort of kickstart my day, I now think about hydration. So the first thing I will have is 2 tablets with a big glass of water, you know, with my 4 scrambled eggs and the rest of my vitamin supplements, and that gets my day going. So I'm starting my day hydrated. And the reason why I started incorporating this in the morning, so I do judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So most of my classes are sort of late in the evening. So for example, on a Monday when I do my jiu-jitsu class, I get home about 8:30 and I leave my house at 6:45 in the morning. So although I drink a lot of water throughout the day and during and after, you know, I sometimes massively can be dehydrated in the morning. But I notice when I take one of these in the morning first thing, within 30 minutes, I'm back in the game. So I have that in the morning. Then if I've got a strength and conditioning session late in the day, then I pop one in my water bottle to keep on top to prevent me from cramping, stiffening up, and you know to keep myself hydrated at all times. Because remember an old saying: if you don't hydrate, you die. So next one, which I think is really prevalent for us living in the UK, and another Solgar product. Should get sponsored with them really, as I'm bigging up all their products. So this is vitamin D. All right, and you get different concentrations of vitamin D. This is 1,000 IU, so I take one of these every morning. And we get massively vitamin D deficient within the UK because summer's too short. And as we know now, when we're moving into the sort of the darker months, so to speak, it's pretty low on the morale, right? You wake up in the morning, it's dark, and you wake up in the morning, it's dark, get my words out, and then you finish work and it's dark. So the actual daylight is minimal. So on that, if you have a pretty static job, like on your lunch break, get out for like a 20-30 minute walk. One, it's good for your digestion, but two, you're going to get that little bit of vitamin D inside you. But those of you who've done like a DNA or blood test, which I spoke about earlier, you know, your vitamin D levels might be really low, and this will affect your energy and your performance. Remember, the sun gives you energy, it gives the world energy. You think like when spring starts, yeah, you look in your garden, the grass grows quick, right? If it's like 10 degrees or 12 degrees and it's sunny and it's a little bit damp, everything just starts to grow because the sun gives you life. So vitamin D is a really important supplement, especially for us living in the UK or countries itself where daylight is just not like living in California or somewhere in the Mediterranean. Okay. Next product. Okay, really talked about at the moment, and it seems to become popular. I mean, I remember first taking this when I was probably 17, 18, just before joining the army, and that is micronized creatine. So I take this on product, and this is just 3 grams per serving. So I'll massively put this back into my daily routine, and I take this with 250 mils of water in a shaker just before, 10, 15 minutes before I go for a workout. So creatine is a natural source and the body produces it, which is ATP, and then as triphosphate. Okay, so what this allows us to do within that gym session or that that combat sports session, that running session, allows us to train that little bit harder for that little bit longer. So in a strength and conditioning scenario, if you're normally banging out like 3 sets of 10 on your squats on your working weight, and then on your final set you're looking to reduce the load and bang out another 10 reps to go to failure, what you could actually then do is increase the volume, and you could probably do 3 sets of 12, for example, at the same weight. So if you're doing that for every set within that session, you're increasing the volume, right? So obviously the more reps you're doing across the load, decreasing the volume, it's going to stimulate the muscle, break the muscle fibers, and then obviously once you get your rest, etc., and your good quality food and nutrition in, protein, etc., that's what's going to build the muscle fibers and get it. So creatine, lots of science go into it, improves your sleep. Some studies out there, people were taking 20 grams a day and their performance changed. Some people have been taking 10 grams, but this is just 3 grams per serving. There's a lot of creatine jellies, sweets out there on the market, and some have been said to be good, some are said to be bad, but I think just a simple one to add to water to begin with, to take for your session, you won't go far wrong. Okay, and last but not least, the famous protein powder. I like Reflex. I've used this for years. I think it's a real good, clean product. It's actually vanilla flavor. I know, a little bit boring, but the reason I like vanilla, because if I'm adding it into a shake with like banana and blueberries, a bit of peanut butter, just keeps the taste simple. or if I'm making protein pancakes, once again, it keeps it simple. I start adding like cookie flavor in there. It's going to be a little bit sweet tooth. So, you know, a good protein shake out there will have anywhere between 30 to 40 grams of protein per serving, depending on the product. So do your research there. Some have a lot of crap mixed in them. Like a lot of protein bars aren't good for you. They're full of all sorts of nasty. So get a good lean, clean protein. And remember, for those of you training with your strength and conditioning, rule of thumb is if you want to build lean muscle, you're looking at minimum of 2 grams of protein per pound you weigh. Sorry, per kilo you weigh, and you're looking at one gram of protein per pound you weigh. So, for example, if you weigh 80 kilograms, you know you're looking at 2 grams of protein per kilo. Times that by 2, so it'd be 160. And then a rule of thumb, I would probably add another 20 grams on top to just to compensate it. So, and then the closer you was to 200, you're going to see a big difference within. You're not going to be as hungry, all right, because you're eating more protein, so it's going to naturally curb your appetite. You're going to recover better. Your hair and nail growth's going to be better, and it's just you're going to be really help on those rest days. And it's most important you do it on your training days, but you do it on your rest days as well. Don't just pay lip service to it, okay? So you got to get your protein in. And also the good thing about protein powder, you know, if you work out your 3 meals per day, you're only say getting 140 grams of protein, and that's having good quality food. If you had a protein shake mid-morning, you're going to top that up, right? Another 30 grams, for example, and then maybe an hour before going to bed, you have another protein shake. I would always look to say to have it with water because your body digests it better, and then you're going to hit that daily goal. There's another protein powder out there called casein protein, and there's a lot of research into that where a lot of serious bodybuilders or athletes, they take that before they go to bed because they say it releases the protein slowly when you're asleep and it helps you recover. I don't know how true that is. I would have to do some more specific research, but I think a good whey protein, you won't go far wrong. So I hope you've learned something about the supplements which I'm taking day to day. I couldn't recommend them enough. What I would say is just go down to your local Holland and Barrett, set up an account. Most of these products I've got, you can buy there. I know all the vitamins you can. And that way, the more you spend, you're going to get some money back. So like a little reward system. So if you're doing like a monthly shop, eventually you're going to get some credit back. And that's money off, which is worth it, right? But always shop around online like Amazon and stuff and look for the same products, but try to get it for the cheapest price and, you know, incorporate that into your monthly budget. Really important stuff. Also, if you are looking to lose sort of 5 pounds in body fat, I'm going to link the video here. Have a watch of that, and that's going to tell you specific foods to eat in order to help you. And if you haven't done so already, I'd really appreciate if you would like and subscribe to my channel. Please drop some comments in here in reference to products, what you take, what you have, what you found with your research, etc. and all that. See you on the next video.